Kart world handed to us on a silver platter, loads of new delicious foods and treats from the Mario universe. And today, I'm throwing it all out. We're roughing it now. I want to see if I could survive, nay, thrive on a diet of only Mario enemies. And to make this video, I combined the list of over 2,000 enemies from the Nintendo Fandom Wiki, Mario Fandom Wiki, and Super Mario Wiki, then researched every single one of those suckers, which I'm pretty sure means you're legally required to watch. Woof. And 2,000's a lot of enemies, and I've got stick bundling class in like 30 minutes. Yeah, we all have stick bundling class. But not to worry, because we're gonna knock these suckers out at lightning speed. First of all, I'm ruling out any of the enemies from the Donkey Kong games that don't feature Mario, or any of the Wario games, because the Warioverse really feels like its own thing. We're also going to toss out enemies from the Smash Bros. Series and Rabbids series, since the events of both aren't really considered canon by Nintendo. Can't eat something that doesn't necessarily exist in the official Mario universe. Then finally, we're gonna rule out all of the enemies from the Paper Mario series and Yoshi's Crafted and Woolly World series, because they're all made of paper and or other crafting materials. So there's 1,039 enemies down right there! Next, we're gonna eliminate things we obviously can't eat due to their material, starting off with things made of metal. This includes all the bombs and missiles in the games, along with things like robots, or really anything else metal. And just like that, we can cross off 157 more enemies off the list. We also gotta take off things made of stone or rock, which includes the many different members of the Thwomp family. Side note, do you have any idea how long I've wanted someone to mistakenly call something a thwomp so that I could go, are you sure you mean a thwomp? Or are you talking about a bomb, flomp, womp, wimp, thwimp, thump, romp, shoop, whamp, or wallop? A long time. And since we've done stone and metal, we might as well throw in all the other hard materials. Plastic, crystal, shell material, whatever question blocks are made of. All out. So with the stone and other hard stuff, that's 67 more enemies we can't eat. We also need to remove elemental enemies. This includes fire enemies, which have some more fun matching names, like Gargantua, Blarg, Blarg, Sharvarg, Rarg, Magmarg, and Magma. And don't forget the lava bubble, blubble, babble, blah. And don't forget the lava bubble, blubble, babble, and blobble. Moving on, we've got the enemies of ice, snow, water, and I'll throw sand in there. When I'm looking at which enemies are going to make up our diet, I'm looking at what's going to provide sustenance, so that's why I don't particularly care about water, and I'm assuming we're going to have water anyway. We've got enemies made of clouds, air, or wind, and finally, enemies made of, like, dark matter, or shadow, or evil paint, things that make you go ow when you touch them. So that's 92 elemental enemies down. But we're not done with the ones that would be impossible to eat. We've got to rule out ghosts, which includes all 121 ghost enemies from the Luigi's Mansion series, as well as all the types of boos and all the other ghosts. We've also got all the enemies made of bones. And finally, the undead enemies, mummies, zombies, etc. So all those together make for 201 enemies crossed out. Then we have poisonous things, which includes 16 different types of shrooms from the Mario and Luigi series, as well as other things that are poison, live in poison, or use poisonous moves in combat. Finally, we've got all the other random everyday objects made of materials that I either couldn't eat or that would make my stomach severely unhappy. Treasure chests, coin bags, balloons, etc. Ayo, it's Big Frankie from Big Frankie's Playhouse Emporium, and I'm thrilled to announce that today's video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. Big Frankie loves to sleep, and with Manta Sleep's amazing sleep mask, I can get all the good Z's I need. Let me tell you, my favorite is the Manta Pro Sleep Mask. This thing's adjustable and comfy cozy for any head size. And Big Frankie's a side sleeper, so my favorite part is that the cushioning tapers out on the edges so it won't press into you when you're on your side. That's genius. And yous can catch Big Frankie in the break room getting some shut-eye during the day too. As a business rat, I know how important getting good sleep can be for keeping up your best week, which is why I'm a part of the pro nap movement. But I can't nap with all them bright lights, so I pop on one of these bad boys and boom! Zero like getting in these peepers. Maybe I'm feeling fancy and want the premium feel of the soft silk mask. Or maybe I pop on the meticulously mask to help soothe the puffiness around my eyes and make me feel fresh as a daisy. They got weighted sleep masks and steamy sleep masks. I can't recommend these masks enough. And if you go to manasleep.com and use code Goombanna or click the link in the description, you can get 10% off your order. That's 10% off with code Goombanna or by clicking the link in the description. Manta Sleep, get over here. So, with 653 enemies to go, we now make the subtle shift from I can't eat this to I won't eat this, starting with the category 2 human. The first level of this category are enemies that are either straight up and down human or human adjacent. They likely possess souls that will be judged at the heavenly gates upon my consumption, and that thought weighs too heavily on me. Level 2 are either uncannily human-esque, or I can't prove they're not humans, so I'm not risking the cannibal allegations. The third level are enemies that are pretty clearly not human, but there's something about them that sets off my human alert senses. weaknesses. Maybe it's the human-like hands, maybe it's the fact that they wear a belt, maybe it's the ability to go on a hear me out cake. I don't know. Finally, we have the level that is just human or human-adjacent body parts. I don't need to see the rest of the body to pass on these fellas. Like, look, this might be a Goomba wearing a human mask to cleverly escape getting eaten, but it worked. I ain't eating Mr. 305. Fittingly following the two human category, we have to talk about Shy Guys. Pretty safe to assume they're not human, considering they just make little noises, but we have no real way of telling what they are under that mask. There are two games in which a Shy Guy's mask falls off, Mario Power Tennis and Mario Strikers Battle League, and both times we don't get to see their face as they rush to put their mask back on. In one of them, Luigi sees what's under, or not under there, and looks shocked, but whether that's because they don't have a face or whether it's what they look like under their masks, it's anyone's guess. But just to be safe, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna eat any variety of Shy Guy, and we can also toss the Sniff It and Bandit family in there as well, since it's pretty much the same situation. Another big category I'm gonna go ahead and rule out off the rip is anything from inside of Bowser's body in Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Feels pretty self-explanatory. Now we are taking a big hit with the tenderling, but we're only eating enemies, and since it's not an enemy until it's inside of Bowser's body, I cannot eat it sans, what's the scientific term? Tummy goo, so I'll have to pass. At this point, you might be wondering what on earth I will eat on this list. And the first one up that answers this is the birthplace of my username, the Goomba. Takashi Tezuka confirmed in an interview that they are in fact shiitake mushrooms. Now ironically, I don't actually like mushrooms all that much, but I will eat them when prepared in a meal, so it's all good. Now I wouldn't eat every type of Goomba. The Aqua Goomba and Goom Diver would just be too much work to get through their suits, and the same with the Prickly Goomba, even though it's giving lychee nut. The Rhinestone Goomba is literally designed to look like Elvis, so that's weird. The Sad Goomba is just kind of too much of a bummer to eat. The Tanumba, Tanuki Goomba, and Cat Goomba being part animal makes him just a little too conflicting to eat. The Shoe Goomba has spent the day in a disgusting sweaty shoe, no thank you. And the Bellhop Goomba, like, has a job. I both don't think that I should eat something that's employed and don't want to leave the hotel understaffed. There are other Goombas that sound great though. Those little micro Goombas, you can pop them in your mouth by the handful like nerds. I'm absolutely taking that Chaboomba's lollipop, and the Goomba Tower's already literally arranged itself into a shish kebab formation. Now you've also got the Goloombas and Goombuds, which seem to be more like chestnuts. Whether they are or aren't doesn't really matter because I'm filing them under edible either way. So there's a Goomba family. Koopas are interesting though. When you think of a Koopa, you might just think of this little guy, but the Koopa family is large. You have Koopas and Paratroopers, sure, but you also have Hammer and Sledge Bros, Buzzy Beetles and Spinies, Lakitus, Koopalians, Chargin' Chucks, Magikoopas and Toadies, Sumo Bros, Shovas, Terracottas and Terrapins, Snoozakoopas, Chomp Bros, Bowser, Bowser Jr., and the Koopalings. Spikes could even be argued to be a species of Koopa with the shells on their backs, though some people see them more as frog-like. So what is a Koopa? In the regular Koopa's case, it seems pretty clear that it's a turtle of some sort, but Bowser doesn't seem too turtly. Magikoopas don't seem too turtly, so it's hard to say for certain that these would be just like eating turtles. And also, I don't eat turtles. That's not to say there aren't regions that do have things like turtle soup and whatnot, but I've never and don't have a big desire to eat a turtle. A lot of these guys also have hands. Hands are weird, man. Okay, look, a whole lot of these enemies wouldn't even have that much meat on them. All the Buzzy Beetles and Spinies, not worth it. Lakitus, Bowser honestly seems too scaly to enjoy. And also, I'd like to keep playing tennis with him and Bowser Jr., so I probably shouldn't eat them. So here's what I'll do. I'll set one Koopa aside as an in case of emergency if the rations run low. Maybe a Grand Troopa, something with meat on its bones. Then the rest, I don't need or feel the most comfortable eating. They can go. Speaking of Bowser though, who also kind of has a dragon-y quality to him, we also have the dragons and dinosaurs of Mario Universe. But what would a dragon or dinosaur taste like? Well, we can start with dinosaurs, since modern birds belong to the same group of animals that the bipedal dinosaurs like the T-Rex and velociraptors do, theropods. When you eat any type of bird, you're literally eating a dinosaur. So back then, dinosaurs would probably taste a lot like our birds. The exact taste and texture would depend on the dinosaur's diet and muscle usage though. White meat and dark meat correspond to what are called fast twitch muscle fibers and slow twitch muscle fibers. So small predatory dinos that ambushed prey and had to dart away from threats likely had a good amount of white meat and tasted like chicken, whereas large dinos with muscles that needed a lot of oxygen might have tasted a bit more like beef or venison. However, carnivores tend to be more gamey, and their muscles built for hunting generally make for tougher meat, so an herbivore would likely be a better eating experience overall. Dragons would probably follow these guidelines as well, and since they usually eat meat and in fiction and appear to have slimmer muscular bodies, their meat would probably be similar to an alligator, which tastes similarly to chicken but is also really tough. And we haven't even talked about the fact that we would have to catch these creatures. I have no interest in going toe-to-toe with a T-Rex just for some gamey tough meat, so we've got to be selective here. The Pillodactyl seems like mostly beak, so not worth it there. Donbongo actually seems like it has too much fat, and it describes its own lips as rubbery, which is not a description of meat that you want to hear. The Bulrush and Dino Rhino's names seem to indicate that they're similar to bulls and rhinos, which are said to have very tough meat, and a lot of the others seem pretty lean and muscular. I just don't want to eat the Pup Dozer. Look how freaking cute it is. If we're being realistic, Birdo is probably the best bet, considering they mostly shuffle around all day. But I just can't! I'm gonna get canceled! I'll put the Bulrush on reserve and let's just move along to something more vegetarian friendly. The plants! First of all, I think we can pretty safely eliminate the flowers. Not a lot of those we can eat in real life. Then we have all the different types of piranha plants. My first instinct is to turn to the fact that red things with white spots in nature is the universal sign of don't eat me, like the fly agaric mushroom for example. But considering the Mario universe has a red mushroom with white spots that is actually beneficial, this rule goes out the window. However, we also don't really eat carnivorous plants in general. It's not absolutely unheard of. Parts of Southeast Asia use types of pitcher plants as cooking vessels for steamed rice in a dish called lamang perut kura, but a lot of times only the rice part is eaten, and it definitely doesn't mean you can go around just eating any pitcher plant you want. I would say just to be on the safe side, I would avoid both piranha plants and any other carnivorous plants on the list. Now, a couple worth mentioning. The piranha sprout I would give a shot because it looks like a little radishy carrot. Gotta try. Then the melon piranha plant looks so hopeful, but unfortunately it doesn't have any of the inside fruit. It's just the rind. Now, technically, you can eat the rind, but I don't really want to. But if you look up recipes that use watermelon rinds, there are quite a few that have several fans, so I'll put them in our in case of emergency section. If you're a watermelon rind fan, sound off. I want to see what you freaks are like. Then we have pokies and other cactus-based enemies. The most common cactus that people eat is the prickly pear cactus, both the fruit and the pads. But most cacti will make you sick if you eat anything but the fruit. Blowhards and swinghards bear the most resemblance to prickly pears, but there are other types of cacti that they could also be, and since they don't seem to bear any fruit, I wouldn't want to risk it. Pokies are out due to their lack of fruit as well, which leaves the kakac. It closely resembles a saguaro cactus, and most importantly, it has a flower. And a flower means future fruit. We'll take the kakac. Then we have a few trees and bushes. These interest me not. But we also have bamboo, which as you might have guessed is meant to resemble bamboo. I'll take that. I've had some yummy stir fries that incorporate bamboo. There's also kelp, and I've had seaweed before, but I'm not actually sure if I've ever had kelp. But you can dry it and use it as seasoning on foods, so it might help make some of these Mario enemies more palatable. I'll take it. I got real excited when artichokers came to mind, because I love artichokes, but by fighting them you learn that they're actually gross fish-spider amalgamations, so I'll pass on that one, as well as Cryphid. They're seed-based enemies like the Seedle and Hydroseedle, which seem to be maybe the seed form of parachutes and bubble shoots? This is just my personal theory. I would try all these. Maybe just a little nibble, see how I react. The only one I wouldn't try is Seedlusa, because it seems like it's made of wires. Another seed-type enemy are Sneeds, which I would definitely try. They look like a dead ringer for sunflower seeds, and they come from Fliffits, which look kinda like sunflowers. I'd just try it, okay? If I get a tummy ache, it's on me. Then there's the Sproing. I'm not sure what type of plant this is, but it doesn't look very yummy, so I'm okay. Next we've got the Trumpet and Uproot, which are seemingly a trumpet mushroom, edible, and an onion. Get over here! Finally, we've got the Windbag, and I don't know. It might be edible, but looking at it makes me uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna take the plant enemies I've got and get out of here. Let's move on to Mario enemies that resemble real-world animals. And we can knock 84 out with the insects and bugs. No, I'm not even gonna put these in the emergency rations. No thank you. And you might have noticed that the butterfly from Super Mario 64 is on there, and you probably had the same thought as I did of the butterflies in Mario 64 aren't enemies. But little did I know that in the levels Tall Tall Mountain and Tiny Huge Island, the butterflies can turn into bombs and chase you? So I have to count them as enemies. You learn something new every day. Then we have all the seafood. Now this is where it gets a little awkward, because as some may know, I don't like seafood. However, it would be really bizarre to skip over every fish just because of my personal preferences, and mushrooms have already made it on the list. So I'll include them, but I'll put them on a separate place so you can have them later. So let's go group by group and see which one should make the list. Cheep Cheeps are the most common fish in Mario games, and aren't a great one-to-one with any real-world fish, though the wiki seem to think it's probably meant to be some sort of flying fish due to the wings, so we'll go with that. Flying fish can be eaten, so I'll pack it in the legend lunchbox for you. And honestly, I'll give you pretty much any nondescript fish. I'm not the one taste testing it. I will admit that cowfish and birdfish are interesting though. I might try that. The squid and octopus can be eaten. One's just a straight up and down tentacle, so there you go. Clams, oysters, other mollusks are all set. The crabs can be packed, and though hermit crabs are also edible, you already have your crabs. It's not worth it. Catfish, I hear you fish heads love those. Flounder, sure. I'm not packing y'all any pufferfish because frankly, I don't trust y'all to be able to remove the neurotoxin correctly. You can have all the urchin gonads you'd like. I'll pack you some eel. My mom will be excited for that, actually. She loves smoked eel and scrambled eggs. Every I hear the music calling, smoked eel and scrambled eggs. We have fun. The ones we're not gonna eat, admittedly, might be had as a delicacy somewhere, but you have so many options that I think we should just leave these guys alone. I'm talking anglefish, angelfish, anglerfish, sea cucumbers, starfish, sharks, rays, sea anemone, jellyfish, and seahorses. You're also not gonna eat the fish with families or baby critters, or sad cheap cheeps. Let them be. Which finally brings us to the end of the seafood section, so now I can play again. So let's talk boids. There are lots of general birds in the Mario universe, and I thought for a long time about which ones to count, and the difference between eating anything I can and being selective about what I choose to eat in this hypothetical scenario. And while I 100% recognize the hypocrisy of taking some weird moral stance on not eating some birds when I eat birds at all, I am going to reflect that in this hypothetical scenario as well. In real life, I've eaten chicken, duck, quail, and turkey, so I'm just gonna stick to the bird enemies that are pretty clearly reflective of those particular birds. So cluckbooms, cuckoos, and the aptly named chickens are going on my list, as well as cataquacks, which I honestly thought were like metal or something for the longest time, but their name and shape does seem to imply duck, so I'll try it. Not flagellos though, because they're more like parrots. And then I'll pass on the rest. Then we have all the other animals that I really have no desire to eat. Of all these, I suppose I'd put midbus on the try list, even though I'm not a big fan of the armadillo back. And then there's the bamu bamu, which is a metallic pig that shoots cannonballs, but I'm having a hard time understanding if it's made of metal or if it's just shiny. The Japanese bio describes it as a cannon pig, so I don't know, I'm just gonna assume it's metal and pass. Aside from that, I guess I'll take the crawful for emergencies since I did try fried alligator at a Renaissance fair one time. Wasn't a huge fan, and the rest I'm good without. But Anna, there are people who eat a lot of those other animals on that list. I mean, we can go there if you really want to. Oh, you go, okay, never mind, point taken. Yeah, it's fine, I'm landing on its feet. So I don't eat frog legs or anything, it's fine, the rest can go. Now we have the category of enemies where I have no idea what they are, which doesn't always mean I won't eat them. So we're gonna Marie Kondo this list into which ones I would try and which ones I would pass on. Would try, looks like a little marshmallow or something. Looks like cotton candy, would try. I have no idea what music is made of, but it looks like licorice, so I'll try it. I can't work out what this is. The wikis think that these are feathers, and it's got brown feet and a plant on top. No. This bird dino block thing is a bit too much block for my liking. Pass. No. There's too much going on, and this little green thing ain't worth all the UFO junk. No, these are too similar to swamp hoppers, which are bugs. Now this looks like a giant radish, and I'm absolutely eating it. This one, on the other hand, the gray doesn't interest me. Pass. Both of these, no, way too fuzzy. Now we get to the slimes. No, lack of color is unappealing. Yes, these were actually originally called lemon drops, and the Nintendo Power Player's Guide described them as tasty morsels that drop from the ceilings. I'll take a lemon drop. No, because it was magically enhanced to grow, and I don't know what that's gonna do to my body. Absolutely not. There are two things that this looks like, and I don't want either one of them. I would try these. They look like Jello. And the Talking Flower agrees it looks delicious. I'd try this one too. Looks like a little gummy. Ooh, or like those little, the things, I'll put a picture. No, this one's got antenna. No, because they block sewer pipes and that seems unhygienic. Okay, pro, they look like sticky hands. And didn't you always kind of want to try a sticky hand? Just like a little? Cons, I don't like their bumps and it looks like Gilbert the Gooey. I'll pass. Let's try it. It's giving Jawbreaker. This one's a forbidden spiky Jawbreaker though, so no. These look less hard in the game, but with the spikes, it's not worth trying. Unfortunately, this does look exactly like a piece of bubblegum, so I will be eating it. And this one is possibly banana flavored. Going in the delicious bubblegum column. Both of these were in danger of being eaten, because especially the Ninja's got a real marshmallow thing going on. But they both also have little ears, so they live another day. No, this one's partly a door. I don't know, we got other stuff. This one is too much elephant and balloon, neither of which I'm interested in, so no. Nah, I'm assuming it's a minion. Also, it's up too high, I wouldn't be able to catch it. This seems kind of hard and spiky, not worth it. No, I think it would haunt my dreams. This one's parasitic, and I don't think we usually eat parasitic things. It's not that I don't know where it's been, it's that I know exactly where it's been, and that's Yoshi's mouth. Pass. This guy's Goomba-esque, but also looks like a giant dumpling. Would try. This dumpling is too hot. Pass. This guy looks kind of fun, but the green is throwing me off. I don't want it. Oops, all spikes. Pass. See, I don't know what's under that bucket. Clearly something substantial, but we already have other things. We don't need to eat it just because it has feet. Put that on a shirt. Could it just be a Goomba? Maybe. But I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna cross the street and leave it be. I don't want to eat these weird little dudes. A sea cactus isn't even a thing. This is going under thanks, I hate it. Which brings us to our final category, enemies that look like foods. But don't be fooled, just because they look like foods does not make them food. For example, we have Eggbirds and Tamara. Both seem innocent enough, but Eggbirds explode on contact, making them more like bombs, and Tamara are BB eggs. What? But also, they come out of like piranha pitcher plants. Why are they so big? The thought of eating a bee egg does make me physically ill, and I don't even think it would have the same nutritional benefits as a chicken egg would, so I'm gonna say both eggs are out. While we're on the topic of bees, we've got bee haas, which is a honeycomb that I will happily accept. We've got 3 different types of pumpkin, and although the Jacko Goomba and the Splunkin don't have the guts and seeds, you can still roast the shell of a pumpkin and eat it, so I'll put all 3 on the list. There are also lima bean looking dudes, and what I think is probably edamame, considering those little guys inside are called mame-san. And the pest nuts have beanies inside them, but actually resemble what the pot of a chestnut looks like. I think it would still go under the lima bean umbrella since they contain beanies, and since we already have depotted beanies, we can toss this. Magmatos seem real hopeful, but they're a total trap, seeing as they're filled with lava, and as soon as they perish, melt into lava. No shot of eating them. I simply must try sugar stars. Due to the name, I imagine they're like little sugar crystals. And then this one might be contentious, but I'm looking at the sour bunch and thinking that these grapes should go on the list. Hear me out! Sour bunch is just what they call themselves. It's like their bad guy squad name, but that doesn't mean that they actually taste sour. They are a tad anthropomorphic for my taste, but maybe I can just add this one to the list. Boom, easy. Then we've just got the pretty self-explanatory ones that I'll happily put on my list. Eggplant Man, Coconuts and Coconutters, Caraboscus, Kerpops, and then there's just onigiri. That one makes my job easy. So that brings us from over 2,000 enemies to a total of 115 enemies that would make up my diet. Our diet, if you count the fish, those are yours. And may I just say, it's a good day to like seafood, huh? Or a bad day to not like seafood, but say Livy. What I want to do now is convert all of these enemies to their real-world food counterparts so we can get a better sense of what this diet would actually look like. I'll combine all the similar ones, like the Goombas and the fish, and leave off the few that really don't have a real-world equivalent. So let's see it. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is weirdest assortment of foods ever. Completely survivable, but look at these categories. For veggies, we have cactus, kelp, bamboo, carrots, mushrooms, radishes, onions, and eggplants. Wild. For nuts, beans, and legumes, we have edamame, chestnuts, and sunflower seeds. Cool. For fruits, we have pumpkins, coconuts, and grapes. That sucks. I mean, I like those fruits, but fruit is easily my favorite food group, so this one stings. For meat, we've got pig, duck, and chicken. That's fine. For carbs, we have dumplings, onigiri, and popcorn. Honestly, way less carbs than I consume on a daily basis. They should consider making a Ritz cracker enemy. For sweets, we have marshmallows, lemon drops, cotton candy, bubblegum, lollipops, licorice, honeycomb, sugar crystals, green gummies, lemon and lime, jello, and jawbreakers. Good treats, but it's weird with only these and no normal desserts like ice cream or chocolate. And then for seafood, you have everything you could ever want. Also on reserve, we have turtle, alligator, bull triceratops, and watermelon rinds. What? So I wouldn't be crying with these foods, but I would definitely miss a lot of my normal foods as I'm chewing on my bamboo. Oh my gosh, I just realized there's no dairy. My cheese. Honestly, especially with the seafood, I'm starting to think this diet leans more Japanese cuisine. That makes a lot more sense. But what do you think about this diet? Would you thrive on it? And were there any enemies where I chickened out, but you're like, I'll take a go at it? Let me know. Be sure to subscribe for more profoundly ridiculous questions about video games. Thanks for watching. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go tear through an entire sleeve of Ritz, and you've got stick bundling class to go to. But I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!
Goombanna is the wonder why she didn't come to play. Gaming vids that'll make you laugh and think and put them on replay. Intelligent, kind and funny, her community's #1. Stick around and kick your feet up. Goombanna has just begun.